The Make-A-Wish Foundation plans to have a Hannibal girl watch fireworks with Disney princesses. It's been rescheduled now for January 7th. That's because Molly is currently in a St. Louis area hospital from complications from a condition called ataxia. The 11-year-old girl was originally set to fly to Disney World, but was in the hospital instead. The plan then changed to having some local princesses watch fireworks with her in Hannibal, but Molly has to come home first. And right now, getting her home in time for Christmas is the mom's biggest wish. Even if Molly does get discharged by Christmas, the home she has to come home to may not be good enough. This is Molly. She hasn't had a great 2014, at least the last few months of it. At 4.5 years old, she was diagnosed with ataxia, a condition that affects gross motor skills like walking. Dawn Bricker is Molly's mother. She says she knew Molly was having issues when she was about 18 months old. Doctors found scoliosis and eventually the ataxia.
She should be fine. You know, grow up a normal, happy little kid.
And for the most part, Molly has had a normal childhood. Dawn says Molly has had some speech difficulties and she walks with a walker.
Then starting late August, she would go into, it looked like a seizure.
So it was back to the hospital where doctors found her ataxia is getting worse.
There's 14 different versions of ataxia when you look it up. She has 2 of them that are fighting against her body all of a sudden.
And doctors don't know why. In order to try and stop the seizures, Molly was put in a drug-induced coma for 11.5 days back in September. She was also put on a machine to help her breathe called a BiPAP. Once they woke her up, she started to do fine. A few hours later, her stats began dropping and she was back in a coma.
They called 3 days later and says, we hate to say this, Mama, but we gotta put a trach in your daughter.
Now, a few months later, Molly is doing better. She still has the trach and a feeding tube, and those may never come out. She's gaining weight and working on standing up, but right now, she's confined to a wheelchair.
And now we're just hoping and praying that she can come home for Christmas, because that's all she wants.
That home Molly has to come home to may not be good enough. The house she lives in now is 2-story. Her mom has moved Molly's room into the living room and moved that into what was the dining room. And that's not the only issue.
We have 15 steps that she has to go, you know, that somebody has to carry her up just to get to the bathroom upstairs.
And the current house has some wiring issues that need to be fixed.
You know, we're trying to find a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, or even 2 bath that's 1 level.
The family is looking to rent, not buy. Dawn says the current house is also drafty and she's afraid of Molly catching pneumonia or something since she has the trach. The family is also finding it difficult to be in St. Louis every day with Molly because of gas, food, and lodging expenses.
I want my baby girl home.
Chad Douglas, KHQA News. Now, we have received word that Make-A-Wish will be handling the electrical problems within the current home. Another issue that's keeping Molly in St. Louis is the lack of home health care nurses. Molly will need 2 when she gets home, but the family can't find any. If you can help the family in any way, you can email them at missmolly112014@yahoo.com. And I put a link to that address, khqa.com.